script today, that is OnChange. Okay, OnChange Client Script. So this client script execute the logic upon change of the field value. Okay, so client script executes the logic upon change of the field value. So on the record, whenever you're changing the field value, say for example you're changing the status, right? You're changing the status. Upon change of the status value or upon change of a value on any field, if you want to execute some logic, you can use OnChange Client Script. So already we did this. So on the reported user field, if we change the value, right? We change the value. So a logic is executing, and that logic is populating the manager information and the email address information. So whenever you're changing value on this field, these two fields are populated. How come? There is a logic executing, that is OnChange Client Script. On change of the value on this field, we are executing OnChange Client Script, and we are populating these two fields. So we have done that already in the initial classes of tables. Now let's discuss another use case. Say for example, I'm changing the status value. So from in progress to pending. So upon change of the status, I want to execute some logic. Okay. So what is that logic and how to build that logic? We'll discuss that. So let's take some use case and work. Right. And observe carefully here. Refresh. Have we discussed about a related list before?
Sorry to interrupt. Gayatri, could you please edit your name like with your surname? Because we have two Gayatri in the session.
One second. Yeah.
Can I know your full name?
Ramya Gayatri. Ramya Gayatri. That's
Okay,
my full name.
thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I think we did not discuss a related list. So let's have a short discussion on it. So we have this table, test table 12, right? And so this doesn't have any related list here. Related list is nothing but a list of records related to the other record. For example, go to users table. Go to users, open any user record. Open the user record. So this is Abel Tutors user record. And you see on this record, there are some related list. Roles is a related list. Groups is a related list. So a related list has the list of records related to this parent record. So it contains the list of records related to the parent record. Groups, it's again a related list. It contains list of records which are related to this user record. Similarly, I want to build a related list for our table. Okay, I want to build a related list for our table. So let's understand the process. So creation of related list. So generally, whenever you want to create a related list, first you should know which table should be related to this table. So here for this user record, roles and groups are related. So roles is coming from roles table. Groups are coming from groups table. Getting it? So here also, I want to build a related list for my table, test table 12. So I need to know which table I should consider for building a relationship. Okay, so let's take some table. So I'll take test table 11. Okay, this is a table I'll take to establish the related list. So this is our table. So create a related list on the table, that is test table 12. Okay, name the related list as say child table or child task, and use the table for establishing the related list. So we want to use this table, test table 11, for establishing the related list on test table 12. Right. So what are the steps here? So there are a couple of steps, so we should know. So first, navigate to the table, navigate to the path, that is relationships, from the application navigator. Step 2, so first I want to establish a relation between two tables. So why this is being discussed now? Because our use case is depending upon the related list now. That's the reason. Okay, so we haven't discussed any related list configuration till now, so we are discussing that. So our use case OnChange Client Script, the use case which we'll be discussing, will depending upon the related list concept. One of the use case, okay, it's not the only use case, okay, which is depending on the relationships, but one of the use case. So we'll be taking that use case and we'll be working on it. So navigate to the relationships from the application navigator. Create an entry in the relationships. Add the condition, query condition, to build the or to filter the records across the related list. So before that, create a field called parent record on the table. So whichever the table that you are using, test table 11, right? Whichever the table you are using for building the relationship, create a field on the table. Okay, and it should be a reference field. Reference field, and reference it to table test table 12. Okay, So these are the 4 steps. So first we'll start with the first step. So that is create a reference field called parent record on the table test table 11. Navigate to the test table 11. So this is our table. Click on new, right? And then start creating the new field. Okay. So take it as a reference field and reference it to a table called test table 12. Right. And then name it as parent record and add it below to active. So add it below to configuration item. Save it. See here, parent record. Where is it? Here it is, parent record. So it is a reference field which is reference to the test table 12 records, and you can select any of the record to establish the relation between the child record and the parent record. Okay, now go to our table test table 12. So this is our test table 12 record, and so if you want to add that related list onto this table, what you can do, first establish the or create an entry in the relationships. So we created the field, that's fine. So the second step is establish the entry in the relationships. So navigate to the relationships from the application navigator. So go to the application navigator, say relationships, type relationships, and you can see system definitions and then relationships. So click on this. So these are all the relationships, okay, established. So the each and every entry here is nothing but a relationship across 2 tables. Okay, so let's create a new entry to build a new related list for our table. So what should be the name of the related list? So give some name, child task, right? Child task, and applies on which table? So on which table we want to add the related list? So select the table here, applies to the table. So that is test table 12. So this related list should be created on test table 12. So this is our table, and queries from which table? So from which table we want to filter or add the records? That is test table 11. Test table 12 is a parent. Test table 11 is the child. Okay. So this is our table, parent table. So this is our parent table, and that is test table 12, and we want to add test table 11 as a child table. Now, so add test table 11 here. Copy the table name. Add it here. instance is somewhat slow. Please bear with it. Right. Add test table 11. Right. Save it. Okay. So we created a related list. So in the relationships, now we created a related list using the relationship and we want to add it onto the form. So go to your test table 12, right? Test table 12. And how do you add the related list here? So on the form context menu, right click, configure, related list. Click on this. So here are the list of related list available in the system. So you can see our related list is also present here. Select it, add it, save. Right. So now, so related list child task is already is added here. Now observe carefully. You can see test table 11 is being related to the test table 12. Now you can create entries here in test table 11 and relate to this particular test table 12. Submit. So on the parent field, right? On the parent field, you can add your parent. Okay. So there is one more step required. So in order to automatically populate the parent record number here, but so let's see. So this is 1027. 1027. Update, create few more records. Let's take some other record. Okay, it has more entries in the activities. Let's take some other record. Right. Click on new. Relate. So it is 1023. Click on new. Just a moment, sorry. So click on new. So on 1023, I see few of the records from the child table. So add the field here. This parent record. So observe carefully here. So this is the parent record 1023, but I see the childs from different parents are also showing up here. So 1027 is a different parent. 1025 is a different parent. So 1023 is the only parent, okay, that is required to be shown here. So only this record should be shown because this child is related to this parent. So this is the parent. Other two records belonging to other parents. Okay. So for this parent only, this is the child task record, but it is showing me all the other childs from different parents. Now you can check for other records as well. If you go to any other record, you will see all the child records from different parents are showing up here. See here, this is 1016. So there is no child task at all, but the childs are showing from different parents. So data is not filtered correctly here. Okay, so we need to make sure that the data is filtered across the parent and the child properly. So we need to add one more step here, that is add a query condition to filter the records across the related list. Okay, so where do you want to add the filter condition? In the relationship. Okay, add the filter condition in the relationship so that you will see the records filtered correctly. So go to the relationship. So this is the relationship record. Now, so here you can see a script window here, wherein which you are supposed to add some syntax to establish the query. So here, as an example, it is already given here. So current dot current dot add query field and then value, and here current and parent. These are the two parameters you could use to build the relationship. Okay, these are the two parameters you could use to build the relationship across the parent and the child records. So how do you build the filter condition? Use as it is. Okay, current indicates the records from the child table. Records from the child table, because you need to filter the child records only, child table records only. So for which you are building the condition here. So current indicates child records. So use current dot add query. So field is nothing but on the child we created a field, right? On the child we created a field that is called, where is that field? Parent record is a field. Open the child. So we created a field called parent record. So this is a field. Copy the field name. Go to the relationship, add the field name here. Value. So what will be the value now? So we have added the syntax to add the query condition. So the field is the parent record field. The value is nothing but on the field. So on the field, so what is the value that you're populating here? So on the parent record field, you're populating the parent record sysID. On this field, we are populating the parent record sysID because this is a reference field. It takes the sysID of the parent record. So same way here also, add value as parent. Parent means parent record. Parent dot sysID. Okay. Parent dot sysID. Great. So this is what the query condition that you can add to build the proper condition to filter the records. So if you're not adding this condition, you will not see the records are filtered properly in the related list, right? So let me close.
Dilip, in the query condition, you said the current record is the child record, right?
Current is nothing but child.
But I see it's u underscore parent underscore record. That is the name of the current record.
That
This
is the
is a
parent.
field. This is a field name which we created on the child table. So here you see
Okay.
the condition is built this way: current dot add query, field name and the value. Field is nothing but the field which is used to filter the records on the child table. So this is a field which we have created, and that is used to filter the records on the child table.
Okay. Okay, got it.
So now let's go to our table, test table 12, and
Dilip, if you want to add multiple child under one parent table, is this the same process to do that, or?
Dilip, you're on mute.
hello, am I audible?
Yeah, yeah.
So
Yes, you are.
somebody was asking a question. So are you asking if you want to create multiple related list? Is that
Yes.
Is that multiple related list or multiple child records? What is your question?
Multiple child records, Dilip, under like we have our test table 12 is the parent and the test table 12 is the 11. So
You can add
Mhm.
same in the same process. So create new, okay, and you see this time the parent record number is automatically populated because we added the condition in the relationship. Now, so you need not fill this parent record number here now because relationship is already built and condition is also built. Now you can fill in other details. Simply click on submit. So now this parent is related with two child records. Okay, you can identify that using this parent record field. Click on new to create few more records. I'm not entering any data on the child records. Doesn't mean that we'll not be entering. Okay, so we will have to enter, but I'm not entering any data on the child records. So you can take other records as well, say 1023. Okay, now on this record, how many records are there in total? 3 records, right? Now on other record 1023, you will see only the child records that are related to this parent. So 1023 is a parent for this child. So only you will see the actual related records. So you're not seeing any unrelated records onto this child table. Getting it? So this is how you establish a relationship between the parent and the child records. Now, so this is a separate concept and our use case is separate concept on Change Client Script. So I am going to discuss one of the use case wherein which I'll be using these child records, okay, for our script. Up till now, is it clear, everybody?
Yeah, Dilip.
Yes, clear.
Right. So now, so observe carefully here. So these are all the childs for this parent. Now each and every child record has some status here. Now observe carefully, these childs are created in order to make sure like parent job is split across these child records. Now I can close these child records by changing the status. Okay, update the status to closed. Okay, now so two records, child records are closed and this is the parent record. Now the use case would be something like this. So whenever, say for example, this is not closed, let's make it, so this 1027, right? So here it is. So I'll change it to in progress, for example. So consider this record is in progress status. So two children are in closed state and one is in open state. So this is not yet closed. So I'm closing the parent now. Okay. I'm closing the parent. Okay. I'm trying to close the parent. So whenever I'm changing the value to closed on the parent, the logic should check in such a way that it should check whether there are any child tasks which are not closed or not. If there are any open child tasks or not. If there are any child tasks which are in open state or in non-closed status, then do not allow the parent to close. Throw some error message and say that please close the open children before closing the parent. Okay. Do not allow the parent record to close until child records are closed. All the child records are closed. Okay. So in this case, there is one child record which is not closed. So do not allow the parent to close. Throw some error message on top of the screen saying with some message. If all the children are already closed, then do not throw any error message and allow the parent record to close. Is the use case clear?
Yes.
Right. On test table 12, whenever the status is changed to closed, then verify if all the child tasks from the table test table 11 are closed. Okay, or not. If they are closed, allow the parent record to close. Otherwise, do not allow the parent record to close and throw an error message on top of the form. What is that message? Please close all the child tasks before closing the parent record. Right? So this is our use case now. So the use case should be built with some logic. So when now we are changing the status to closed, so refresh it. When now we are changing the value on the status, okay? When now we are changing the value on the status to closed, so you're changing the value, and upon change of the value, you're supposed to execute the logic. What is that logic? Verify all the child records are closed or not. And if they are closed, allow the parent record to close. Otherwise, throw the error message. So that is the logic. So what is the trigger case here? When our status is changed to closed, that is the trigger. So here, what logic we can use? OnChange Client Script. On change of the status value, we want to execute the logic. Is that clear? Everybody clear? Any questions? Why are we using OnChange Client Script here?
Yes, Dilip, but this applies only to the status, right?
Yeah, only to the status.
Okay.
So OnChange Client Script will work for the value change on a field. So you need to define which field you want to consider for the logic to build or logic to execute. So here our consideration is status change. So now go to the client scripts, configure client scripts. So these are all the existing client scripts. Click on new to create a new client script. So few more things here. So this is a form we already know for building the client script. So give some meaningful name for this client script. So restrict test table 12 records to close. Okay. So on which table this client script will execute? On test table 12. So I'm saying UI type for all the platforms. This should work. And type of client script is OnChange, right? And so here is the logic that we are supposed to build. Save it first of all. So observe carefully here. Refresh. So we are working on the client side scripting. So you will be able to work or use client script to work on this particular record. But our logic is verify the child records status. Verify the child record status. Where are these child records residing? In another table. Okay, our client script is to be executed on test table 12, but our logic should verify record status on test table 11. So this is a different table residing in the database. So client side logic is supposed to touch this table and then verify the status. So where is this table? On the database server side. So from client side, you have to execute a server side logic. From client side logic, you have to call a server side logic to execute. Why server side logic? Because this table records are residing in the server. So whenever you want to touch another table and check the data, read the status of the records, you need a server side script. So glide record syntax, which we discussed previously. So you need to execute a server side logic from the client side logic. Getting it? So two different things. You're writing a client script and you're calling a server side script here. So there is an approach here for calling a server side logic from the client side logic. So we need to understand one more thing called glide ajax here. Okay, glide ajax. It is used in the client scripts or client side scripting to call a server side script. So what is that server side script here? We call it as script include. So it is used in the client side scripting, like client scripts or UI policies. So to call a server side script called script include. So in the script include, we'll be writing server side script. So to touch this table, read the records and read the status, we'll be writing that logic in the script include. Okay. Any questions here? So observe carefully. So where is our client script? Here it is. So whenever you're writing an OnChange client script, so there are couple of parameters appearing on the function, OnChange function. So control old value, new value, is loading, is template. So out of these, you need to understand what is this old value, what is new value, what is this is loading. These are very, very important. What do you mean by old value? One more thing here, on change, right? So I said on change will work on field, a particular field. So you need to select the field here. So which field? Status field. Select the status. Save it. So this field will appear only for the on change, not for any other type of changes. Any other types of client script, this will not appear. Only for on change, this field name will appear. Now, what is old value? Old value is nothing but the value which was present on the record status field. So for this record, what is the status value? Resolved, right? So old value is a value which is present on the record, and which is a saved value of the status on the record. So resolved is a saved value for the status on this record, right? So this is called old value. Whatever the value that you are selecting, that is called new value. Whatever the value that you are changing, okay, that is called a new value. So old value is nothing but value present on the field and which is saved on the record. New value is a value which is a new value selected on the field, okay? And observe carefully. Let's change it to say, let's open this record. See here, it is in progress. In progress is the old value for this record on the status field. Now I'm selecting pending. Pending is called the new value because I'm selecting pending as a new value. Now, what is the old value? Still it is in progress only because in progress is a saved value for the status on this record. Just the new value is pending. Now, if I change it to resolved here, I'm selecting resolved as a new value. Now, new value becomes resolved. Old value is still in progress because that is a saved value on the status for this record. Okay. Now, for example, you're selecting pending and you're saving this record. Okay. So pending is a value saved for the status on this record. So pending becomes old value. Now, in progress is the new value. Okay. Now I'm saving it. So now again, in progress becomes the old value because this is a saved value on the status. Same thing. Whatever the value that is saved on the field, that becomes the old value. Whatever the value that you are selecting, that is called a new value. So you can use those parameters while configuring the script. What is this is loading? Is loading is nothing but to verify whether the form is loading or not. Okay. If you want to write some logic upon load of the form or the record, you can use is loading. Is loading is nothing but the script will understand that a record is loaded and I need to execute the logic. So any logic that you want to execute on load of the record, you have to use is loading parameter and write the script. Okay. Is loading is a parameter used to indicate that a record is loaded. Okay. On load of the record, if you want to execute some logic, you can write that logic by using is loading parameter. Getting it? So we'll discuss that as well. But right now, observe carefully. So build the algorithm first and then write the actual code. So first is read the new value. Getting it? So on the status, first you need to read the new value. Okay. If the value, new value is closed, then you need to execute your logic. If the new value is closed, then verify all the child records are closed or not. If they are closed, then allow the parent record to close. If there is at least one child record with non-closed status, then do not allow the parent record to close. And throw the error message. Right? So these are all the points that we are supposed to convert them into script lines. So first, read the new value. Okay. So new value is already present here. Okay. So we can directly use it here. So you can directly use new value and directly you can go to the second case. That is, if new value is closed. So you can use if because we want to check the condition. So if new value equal to closed. So I want to get the backend value of closed choice here. I want to get the backend value of closed choice. How can I get that? How can I identify the backend value of closed choice for the status?
Right click,
Mhm.
configuration, yeah, configure dictionary.
Okay.
And then scroll down.
What next?
Choices. Click on choices.
Right.
Yeah.
So you have a value here for closed. So this is the backend value of closed choice. Use that. So if new value equal to closed, it means we are checking the condition. If the selected value is closed, then we need to work on all these cases. Okay. So if they are closed, I'm sorry. So verify all the children first. Okay. Verify all the children. Now write the logic. Write the logic to read all the child records, child task records. Read the status of all the child task records. So how do I? So I need to write a server-side script here. Okay, because I need to touch test table 11 records, verify the status. So that requires a server-side script. So I can't directly write a server-side script in the client-side script. No, you cannot write. You cannot write a server-side script in the client-side script directly. So what you could do, you could define a glide ajax call. So glide ajax is used to call a server-side script from the client-side script. So what is this server-side script? I said script include. So first we'll define the script include. We'll understand the script include. We'll come back to the client script. Okay. So we'll talk about script include first. Easy to understand. So it is a server-side script which contains reusable function definitions. Okay, function definitions. So let's verify. So how to check the script includes? So type script include in the left navigator. Script include. So under system definition, script include. So these are all existing script includes. Each and every entry here is nothing but a script include. Open any existing script include. Check. So this is a script include and it contains some logic here. Okay, what I said here, it is a server-side script which contains reusable function definitions. So you see here, so this is a function. So this is a function definition from here to here. This is a function definition. Function definition is nothing but you define the logic for the function. You define the logic for the function. So this is the logic for this function. So what is the syntax for defining a function? So this is the syntax, right? We already learned function, function name, and input parameters, right? Input parameters, open and close flower brace, and then block of code, and then a return statement, right? Return result. So this is the function definition. Same thing here also. So this is the function definition. So here you see, so instead of writing in this format in Servicenow, in script include, we'll write it this way. So on the right side, we'll write keyword function and left side we'll write function name. So function name, right? So here in a reverse way, function, this is a function name and open and close brackets, and within curly braces, we'll be writing the block of code and then a return statement, right? So likewise, the script include can have any number of function definitions. So check for any other script include. Check for any other script include. So this is another script include, and here you can see many function definitions. You see here. So this is one function. This is another function definition. This is another function definition. Another function definition. Likewise, a script include can have any number of function definitions. Okay. Now, this function definition can be called from different places. So what did we learn in the basics? So this function logic can be invoked by calling the function. So how do you call? Using the function name. So function name. So you'll have to call this way. Getting it? So this is called function call. So whenever you're defining a syntax like this function will be called and this block of logic will be executed. Same way here also, you can call this function to execute by calling with the function name. Okay. So you need to call with this function name. So you can call this function from a client script. Okay. Maybe more than one client script you can call, or maybe from UI policy you can call this function. Okay. Or you can call this function from the other server script. Maybe some business rule, maybe from workflow you can call, maybe from flow designer you can call, maybe from access control you can call. So this function can be called from any place within ServiceNow, like from server script or from client script. You can call this function. So all this script includes contain reusable code. So you're reusing this function across different server scripts or client scripts. You're calling this function. So this is called a reusable function. You're reusing it across multiple places. That's the reason it's called a reusable function, which is placed in the script include. So script include contains reusable function definitions which could be called from any script. Right now, so you will also write this kind of a function for our use case, and then we'll be calling that function from the client script. Getting it? So now let's understand more details about this script include. So script include can be called from server side script as well as client side script. So now our logic is the script include should be called from a client side script. Okay, we are writing a client script, so we want to call a script include. So how do you ensure that this script include is called, or it can be called from the client script? So here is a checkbox called client callable. So whenever this is checked to true, that means this script include can be called from client side scripting. Okay, script include can be called from the client side scripting. So when this is unchecked, that means this script include can be called from the server side. So at the time of creating the script include, you will either check this or uncheck this. You will not change it all every time whenever you require. Okay, so at the time of configuration of the script include, we'll have to check this or uncheck this depending upon the use case. So some of the script includes, they don't have client callable as true. You see here, client callable. For this script include, it is true. That means it is a client side callable script include. So this is false, this script include. That means this is server side callable script include. Server side callable script include. Is that clear? So two ways you can call from two different places, server sides as well as client side. You can call a script include function. So you need to make sure like you are checking or unchecking this client callable based upon your use case. Now our use cases, we want to call it from the client script. So it should be a client callable script include. So either you can create a new script include, okay, or you can make use of any client callable script include. So we can write our own function within the script include for our use case. So refresh. So like this, right? Like this function, we want to define our own function. So check where is it ending? So it started here, ended here. Now define your own function here. So check status on child task. Okay, so this is a name of the function that I'm giving, and then say function, then keyword, then write the logic, comma. So this is the function name, keyword function, open and close bracket, flower brace, and within this function name you need to define the logic. Clear up till now? Save it. Everybody clear? So this is our function. So write the logic now. So what is our logic? We need to touch the child table. So we need to touch this child task. So which is test table 11. And for a given parent, I need to verify whether the children are in closed status or not. So apply the filter condition. Say this is the parent record, right? So apply the filter condition on the child records. Say parent record is this and state is one of. So state is one of. So I want to verify whether there are any records with pending, open, work in progress, or awaiting. So these are the states which I want to check for a given child record. Getting it? So click on run. So for this parent, this is one child which is in progress. Getting it? So this is the filter condition that we need to apply. Getting it? Now go to your function, close all unnecessary tabs. Now write the logic here. So anybody can help me here? So we already learned glide record syntax, right? Same thing we should be doing here. So verify, check how am I writing. Next time you should be able to help me. So directly write new glide record, create an object for which table? Test table 11. Right. So copy the table name. And assign it to a variable. So variable gr test table 11. Okay. You can take any variable. So let's take just grtt. Now, so after touching this table, we need to apply this filter condition to check the childs with open state, right? So apply this filter condition. Copy query, and put it somewhere in the comments, right? So in this query, observe few things here. So you parent record equals to, so this is a static text, right? So this is a field name which will not change. And sys ID is nothing but the parent record sys ID. So this can change for record to record, this can change. And other thing, so from this cap till the end, this is talking about the status, list of status. So even this doesn't change. Only value changes is this sys ID of the parent record. So make sure you build this filter to pick this up sys ID dynamically. Okay. Now observe carefully. So define a variable as query and copy this query. So split this. So put it in single quotes. So because this is a static text, from here to here, I'm putting in the single quotes, and this is a dynamic sys ID coming from the parent record. So this is a dynamic value and this is a static value. What operator I can use here to join them together? Which operator?
Concatenate.
Yeah, concatenation. Use plus operator. Now again, observe here. This is a dynamic sys ID coming from the parent record, and this is static condition. So I will put this static condition in the single quotes. Okay. And this is a dynamic sysID and this is a static filter. So I can join them using concatenator plus operator. Put the semicolon. Now, so this sysID should be made dynamic. So what you can do, instead of hard coding sysID like this, make sure like you use a variable here, parent sysID. Okay, parent sysID. So this parent sysID should have the sysID dynamically being picked up. So we'll see how can we pick up parent sysID dynamically. So but right now this is the filter condition to be applied on this test table 11 records to check whether child records are closed or not. Clear up till now, everybody?
Yes, Dilip.
Now, observe carefully. This is something like a single line filter condition. So, which method I can use to apply this condition onto this glide record? So, generally, how do we apply condition on the glide record? What is a method? Method name? How do we apply filter condition for the glide record syntax?
By add query.
Right, add query. But add query is just used to add a simple query condition. But this is something like a dynamic filter condition, right? Which is picking up the sysID dynamically from the parent record. So in order to use this kind of condition on the glide record syntax, we have one more method name. What is that? Add encoded query, right? Add encoded query is used to add a complex query condition onto the glide record syntax, right? So it is also used to add a single line filter condition onto the glide record syntax, right? So now, so this variable is storing that complete condition. So we'll have to apply this query as a condition to this glide record syntax. So use variable name dot add encoded query and pass this query variable here. Getting it? So what is this actually giving me? It is giving me open state child records. Open state child records. So whenever there are open children present for a given parent, this will give me the records. Okay. If there are no open or non-closed child records, then it will not give me any records. Filter will give you 0 results. If there are records, then only it will give you records. Otherwise, it will give you 0 results. So now I need not check all the records. I need not check. For example, here there is only one child record, but if there are more child records, all those child records will be showing up here on this filter list view by using this filter. I just need to check whether there are children with open status or not. That's the only case. I need not loop through each record. I just need to check whether there are any open children or not, just for verification. So here I need not loop through each record, just I can use first matched condition. So first matched record, if I check, if I get any records, that's enough for me. So you can use if instead of while here, just to check the first matched record. Not even first matched record, just to check whether records are present or not. So it's say grtt dot next, right? So declare a variable here called flag, status flag. Okay, declare a variable as status flag. Also declare this variable as, if you are using this variable here without any declaration, then it will be an invalid variable. So always use the declaration. Getting it? So now, if there are any matched records with the above condition, then what do you want to do? I want to set the flag as true. Flag is true. Flag is true, indicating that there are open children, open child tasks. Getting it? Else in the sense there are no children with open state. Say status flag as false. Right? So that's all. Logic is completed. Now every function will execute the block of code and then it will return the result using return statement. So return status flag. So return this value. What is this false? False meaning there are no open child tasks. Save. Everybody clear the logic? Any questions here? So this way we'll be writing the glide record syntax in the server script. So we already learned it, just we are using it here now. Understood, guys? Any questions?
Got it, Dilip.